Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing? Any questions? How is the material? How is the class for you guys so far, this first week?
I really like
For-
it.
You do? Good. What do you like about it so far?
I like just your learning style and the way you teach everything. It's very in depth, but not too difficult.
Oh, good. That's my goal. Yeah, it's kind of, I think it's the teacher's job to do that as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I'm glad you like that, and it helps. Yeah,
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have a question about the habit tracker. Is this something that's uploaded every week, or is it uploaded on the third week? Everything upload.
Yeah, let's just go right into that to start with, because that came up before too. Yeah, so first what you do is you choose a health. You choose a one of the things you want to do. You either choose exercise, you choose meditation, or some mindfulness thing that you do for 10 minutes a day, or you choose the water, and then you track it for 3 weeks, not, and then you upload it at the end of the 3 weeks. So in week 4, I think it's week 4, or at the end it ends up being week 5 even, where we upload it then, because some people start like now, which is the beginning of week 2. You did as well. Okay, so for anyone today, on what's today, the 26th of August, Merritt is closed, so we just do online stuff, and then we'll pick it back up. On our end, we pick it back up Wednesday night and then Thursday night. So since we do the same thing 3 times, 3 different sections. So you're welcome to come to Wednesdays or Thursday section to participate this week. But officially, you are not having to show up for this lab. And what do we do in this lab? We're going to try to be dissecting a rat. I believe I have to communicate with the school, which now I can't. That was sort of on the docket for early this afternoon to make sure that's happening. But that's what my goal is, to dissect a rat, and then we do some in-class activity of what we go through this week, which is the food label analysis. That's what I'm going to do in the classrooms, or what I will do in the classroom as well. So any questions to that? Not going to school tonight?
So there's not, so since we're missing lab tonight, there's nothing that's mandatory that we need to do in lab to make us have to show up on Wednesday or Thursday. We can just,
you can do it online. What we're doing, we still can do it online. We I'm trying to get together that we can do some early dissection again the second week of a rat, but we can even we can even include that later if we can make it happen, and so we can catch up on that if we want to do that. But we don't have to. So other than that, missing wise, you don't have anything obligatory that you're missing. Other than that, everything can be done online. You just have to put in your own time online.
Oh, and one more thing, Dr. M. I turned in the questions and concept tips for half an hour thing, but I never got the score for it. And
which on the first or on the second week?
The Padlet one, the first week.
Yeah, I'm still working on that.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. I got 130 students this semester, so I'm trying to be. The first couple of weeks, hang with me, but I'm trying to get through everything today, especially since we're not going to school. But the other thing is the Wednesday and the Thursday lab. You will have, if you're in those sections, not in the Monday section. We do have to show up. I have to start taking roll. And this semester is technically a mandatory lab semester. I'm not going to be, if you're missing 1 or 2, I'm not going to be too worried about it. But if you're missing a whole section, a slew, and you're just doing it online, we can't have that. We got to get you guys back in. Us as well. Until now, it was optional, but now it's back to being mandatory. according to the chiefs, the powers that be. And it has to do with the transfer thing, apparently. It's really about that. I would like to create a section that we can have online for people that are further away. But that's a future thing.
So for the labs that's on Monday, because I work Wednesday through Sunday. My only time that I can attend the lab is a Monday. Is that okay? Because I did text you about that.
Yeah.
I won't be able to do a Wednesday or Thursday because I work swing shift.
Are you in the Monday section officially, or are you in the Wednesday officially?
No, I had signed up for the Thursday, but I texted you on the phone in regards to it that I wouldn't be able to attend Thursday. I can do Monday because that's my day off.
Then that's perfect. That's fine. I have enough room that I can switch you guys around internally, and you just have to keep an eye on, make sure everything is proper. But that's not a problem at all. You just show up when you can, and so from that perspective, you're in the Monday section then, and so don't worry about this week.
And then if it's like dissection and stuff like that, I know somebody else said that if it's okay to bring it up like a little bit later or so, I'm not really sure. Is that possible? Like we can do the dissections and stuff like that later on if situations like this come about where the school is closed down or whatnot?
Yeah, I wanna make that happen because the one thing that's really valuable to learn is one of the things in person is the dissection, is the feeling the tissues and things. So I'm not sure. The one caveat with all the dissections still is how many, now that everybody goes back, are they delayed in getting all the organs or so? But that's my only caveat anyway, regardless of. And so I want to make it. If this happens, for example, I want to make sure we make a makeup lab, so to speak, on a Monday. And do the rat dissection a week later or something like that.
Okay.
Or even individually, even individually, I can also just have a couple of organs and then we do it on one table or something like that. That's not a problem at all.
But if we're working in like study groups or whatnot, then how would that be possible? If some people come into the lab and others don't, like say for instance, my situation, if I'm going to work and you want us to come into class for the lab, and we have study groups, how would that work? Because
you just come on a Monday, right?
Yeah.
So you're in a Monday class, and so study groups, we don't really do dissections in a study group. We do those in the lab. But if let's say you're missing this week's and then unfortunately next week's too, right? And you can't do another day of the week, I can make it so the following week we just do the physical things like the dissection parts. Then at that point, and I just have them bring me those organs at that time.
Okay.
We just need to communicate. You just always need to communicate with me. But there is a fair amount of flexibility on that part. I want to make sure as many of you guys get to do some organ kinesthetic sort of integration, especially with the tissues that we're doing. The rat, I can't touch a rat. So if you got the same problem with just the two of us, we're not going to do a rat. That's up to I'm very happy to bring them if you're okay with dissecting. Okay, any other question to that topic? Those are good. It's good to clear that all up. I'm really glad you're bringing it up. Well then, yes.
My bad. I was going to say for the word terms, when writing them down on a flashcard, they're going to pop up on the quiz or test, right? Or no?
Which word terms for that? For the first week's lab thing?
like naming the body parts or whatnot, or like the
I'm not sure if I think I have a couple of questions on those terms in the test, but those definitely come back when we talk about muscles and things. For example, you have about 4 muscles that are attached to the upper arm, and the term for that area is brachii, and so all these muscles have the word brachii in them, and so then when you then learn about muscles, you don't have to think that hard. You just know brachii is probably in the arm somewhere. And so the better you have a grasp of those terms, the more useful. You're building a web of knowledge, and it's sort of a foundation piece a little. So go through them a couple times, maybe make a flashcard. But I would make a flashcard like maybe with the whole body terms on it, or fill the thing out a couple times. Download the sheet that I have in here that you can download a couple times, or just do it on a draw a person and label it a few times. That way you get it in your head. And the test is open book. So you'll be able to just, also then reference back. That's one reason why I do a test open book. So on my end, because then you can, then it's really about organizing your knowledge and learning about how to structure your knowledge and your notes, particularly your notes, because a lot of this stuff you can then build on if you go to another class, or especially with the booklets also, you then have a reference for yourself. If something happens, look something up, especially since it's visual, like I think of, I don't know, people twist their ankles or something like that. Let's see. I know what to do about that. But anyway, the other thing I want to talk to the test. Did that answer some of your question a little bit? Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Because then taking that a step further, I want you to go to the test, and then in the test module you have a test review, because we're testing. I'm doing the first test after the first 4 chapters, and so today we did finish up introduction. Now we're going to chemistry, and then you have cytology, which is the cells and tissues histology in week 3, and then we have a test over the weekend, more or less. And I do that early because then we get all the stuff that we can't see sort of out of the way. Not that we need to, not that it's not relevant, but it's sort of different then, because afterwards we go to muscles and bones. We start with the skull and go to the skeleton, and then do the facial muscles and stuff like that. And that's a totally different thing. And so we separate that, because when you finish the test, the one test with me, then no test builds on on the other. So there's no cumulative test. That's what I mean to say. They're all individual. I gotta take off that thing. There we go. They're all individual tests for the section that we're starting at that moment, including the last one. And I try to have a good test review on all of them, written, not verbal, written. And also the second test is mostly muscle and bones. We do a lot of practicing in that in the classroom for sure. And that test, I'm still thinking about how to do it. That might be in the classroom, but I'm not sure yet. I don't want to test. No, I probably will, because it's good to have a 3-dimensional sort of test experience like that. But anyway, we're on test 1, how to study this material. I would, from start now on, look at these bullet points and make sure, like last week, you went through this introduction. I will go through these bullet points and make sure you understand all of the stuff that's on these bullet points. And then I would, maybe I would highlight what I don't, or make sure I go over and over it again, or even make flashcards of some of the stuff that's harder to bring into my memory. And then I will go with the Leitner system, that flashcard box system that I went through in school a little, or that is also in this introduce your study, how to study sort of section. If you want to know more about that one, I highly recommend looking at that system, because it helps you separate the knowledge from the not knowledge, so you don't waste your time on going over things you're already knowing. Anyway, so that's what I would do now, in the beginning of this week to finish up last week. And then also, though, what you can do is to go forward too, is you can print this thing out or download it and then print it out. See, through that, I put it on paper. So you can download it here and then print it out. And then as you go through the material, make sure you touch on all these points as you go through the videos and the booklets, and then make sure you understand it. Then you also have language that, as far as I'm concerned, I'm pre-chewing the material for you, that this is what I would put on a flashcard that I do studying for this material, because that's how I process this material, myself, but then also when I think about how to help you guys, do the studies, is like I do it the way I would study for it. And so I will put flashcard, I will put things that I don't know as I go through it, or that are harder to remember. I will put them on flashcards, or the whole thing, because once you write the stuff on a flashcard with your hands, and you go a couple times through, after cards you can basically get rid of, because you're don't, but you check yourself before the test, or you use it during the test because you can use your material. But after that, that stuff, because the process of writing it down and then having to look for the memory a couple times, that will solidify that information. So that's what I will do. With that, when it comes then to the test, it's true, false, multiple choice. The first test, I gave you 75 minutes, but I think I really gave you guys 90 minutes. I have to make sure I'll adjust that to 90, because I want to make sure you have enough time to not be rushed. I want you to process the material sort of one more time to finish up, and then we can move on to the next section and have us, we don't need to build up on too much stress, Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, how many questions is the first test, if I may ask?
55.
55 questions. Okay. 55. And this weighs 25% of our grade, is that correct? Or
I have to double check. I thought it was 30 altogether. The 3 tests.
Oh, okay, 10%.
Yeah, I think it's 30.
30 all the tests, right? Okay, yeah. Then one test essentially is 10%, more or less. More or less, The last test is a little more questions, but 65. So it's slightly off probably, but nothing more fancy than that. That's but they're all open book. And even the one I'm most likely bringing it, I know, I'm sorry, it's like second week after the long not going to the class with the pandemic, thinking about everything. So I'm a little slow with I want to really integrate it properly. And I think the second test is the muscles and the bones. And when we go to the classroom and do that even there, I give you a term list with all the terms, and you can use that to take notes and then bring it to the test and have it sort of as a cheat sheet, so to speak. But I have found with my own studies, if I bring the information down to the essence, then I know it afterwards. And so I want to use that process in that testing situation as well. All right. So then what are we doing this week? Any questions before we move on?
I wanted to ask if we can get a copy of the test review soon. Or is it too soon to get that?
No, you can access that.
I think right now it's locked until September 6th.
Really? Wait, review? The review?
When I click on test 1, yeah.
No, test 1 is clear. Yeah, test 1 is locked, but test review is open.
Oh, how do you access test review?
So you go, it's the other one. It's not. Yeah, it's the first one, test review. And then this one is locked.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that on my.
You don't?
Yeah.
Oh, gee, thanks so much for bringing that up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Anybody else second that? Not seeing that thing? Test review? We still have people on the call. All right, good. Okay, let me work on that real quick. Why would that be? It's published. Are you on desktop or app?
I'm on the desktop. I'm on a laptop right now.
Okay, so
and I'm on the canvas.
Okay.
On my end, I'm allowed to see the test review.
You can? Okay, then in that case, if you cannot, text me and I can text you the review from like a Dropbox thing or something.
Okay.
All right. But do send me a text so I have it, and then I work on that after the class or after what we're doing here. I'm so sorry. Must be a glitch. Are you still having issues with some videos, or is that clear at this point for you guys? Anybody? Because that was a problem at some point.
Also, I'm not seeing the test review on mine as well.
So you're in this test module, is that correct? You open this test module?
Oh, I just found it. When
Okay,
you
how
click
did you
on the
find it?
test one,
Uh-huh.
I clicked on test one. It said locked, and then I went to the bottom. It said previous. If you click on previous, it'll give you the test review.
I'll try doing that one.
Whoa, why would it?
Yeah, give it a shot. See if you get it.
Okay, cool. And if you still don't get it, just shoot me a text.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank God. So I don't know what the fluke is on that, but I know.
Just a little workaround, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So we just, and that's why also you just text me. I know I have some to go through, but I will be catching up to stuff. And then I'll be up to date more as we go forward. The first couple of weeks are always a little bit challenging. Good. But yeah, because I want to make sure you get started with if you have the test review in your hand, you should be all fine, because then you go through the material. And as we go through it, week 2 is, and I'm going to post what I'm doing as a video today as we talk right now. I'm going to post it here for people who don't want, if you have people asking what to do. But we have chemistry videos. That's a fairly decent chapter. So make sure you get started not too late in the week if you can. So multiple videos. It's a little slow here. Well, and then I describe things down here. Well, look at that. The videos take way too long. But we basically go through, the foundation stuff from chemistry, atoms, molecules, the nucleus, the electrons, all that stuff, and then how these atoms work together and form together and make bonds. And that's chemical reactions basically. And then from there, we once we have the foundation, we go straight into what we use in the body, kind of thing, the biochemistry. Bio means life, and so the chemistry of life incorporates a lot of inorganic compounds, a lot of water, a lot of salts, acids and bases. But then these organic compounds, we group those as things that have carbon in it. So carbon is sort of the master super atom in the universe, because it can make interactions with all these different other elements and things. And so that's kind of why it's really cool. And you learn about that as you go through this first chapter. If if it's the first, well, and for some it might be a review. We're not going too deep, so don't be too shy just diving in and try to have a good time with it. Even it's less chemistry, and I always shy away a little bit from this word chemistry. But this is really mostly then for us to understand also what carbohydrates are, what lipids, fats are, what proteins are, and then we get a little bit into the DNA. Nucleic acid is DNA stuff. And we finish the chapter out with the molecule that is the energy molecule in the body. That's a really powerful, need to know kind of molecule. The gasoline for the body is that. And so that sort of covers this chapter. And then we have, from the knowledge, the learning perspective, and then we have a quiz with it, like we always do. Or I shouldn't say quiz, I say questions, because you can take it over and over again. So that's why it's questions. And then another thing that then I do 2 more things here, or 3 more things in the second week. But the first one is a spotlight scientist. And so what I like to do is have us just think a little bit about science and what we want to do, like kind of in that activity. I think partially I put it in for that, because we still often feel like we're in a group, like, I'm in this group, so I go for nursing because that's what the group. When I grew up, it was mostly I'm in this group and we go for banking or for insurance. That was in the 80s in Switzerland, and that was what we did as sort of. But I want us to. I learned in my own experience. The more I think about what I really like to do, what I have a proclivity, but also what I'm good at, and then guide my way through the world that way, is very important to keep interest going. I mean, I'm a little bit of a goofball that way, and I need ADD and all that. Sort of when I say that, just to know, I need a lot of I think a lot about things, and so I need to move always and progress in my studies and things like that. But also, I think I want to do this scientist thing because we often feel hindered by some of our surroundings or what we're told about ourselves. Or we're a woman, we can't become a doctor in the old days or things like that. And I want to go and dive a little bit into the world, into the past, and find somebody that is a minority, but doesn't have to be, but somebody that shakes the world around a little bit. I mean, if you look at Galileo, he was actually a minority at his time too, for example, when he came up with his round world versus flat world thing and changed the whole thinking in science, and was not being kind of prosecuted for it. And so I want us to do an activity around that. So you go find somebody that you probably already know, many of you, that is interesting you, that is somebody that is inspiring you, that the story inspired you, and then you go to Wikipedia. I know, the good old Wikipedia, and you read those person up and read a little bit about them, which means like paragraph 1 or 2, basically, if you do the minimal. But it can be interesting because then sometimes I dive deeper into those Wikipedia pages and read up on people. And then I want you to though copy paste the first paragraph, I think, or the first and 2, depending on how much data information it holds, and copy paste that into a Google Map doc where you make a little pin, and you have a little box that comes out, and you paste that text in there, take all the like little citation things out, we don't need that, and then place a picture on it, and I explain it how it goes in here somewhere, I think, yeah, right in here, this part here. And then you also go to the discussion board and post the text there. And then, once you put it up there, you have a few other people that are there, you read some of their stuff, and then you get a little, new thoughts, maybe, who knows, and then say hello, thank you for doing that, and I found this interesting, and give a couple replies to them, and then that's the end of that activity. Yeah, I like that one. I kept it in because it does make us think a little bit. It's been a little goofy, but it's been shown kind of interesting and helpful in that regard. Because science, all of this not doesn't have to be science. I mean, this is a science class, but it's important to keep thinking of what we can do and what we're interested in, especially in this time when we go to school. And that's what we're doing in school, trying to learn these things. And anyway, then the next thing that I did is a explain through images activity. And the reason why I put that one in is because I made my classes, at some point I realized images make it much easier, and I want all of us to be on the same page of going through Google and then getting to the images tab and looking at the images and knowing how to download it into a document and make our own picture book if we so choose, Google picture book doc or Word or whatever, and learn, because a lot of the stuff, if it's text and writing, and I mean, I do this new class where I'm trying to digest the material of these textbooks on biology class and then make videos with it. And I'm scripting everything of how to say it, because it takes a long, long time to figure that stuff out, the proper wording, or make these bullet points also into test review, for example, if I do them for myself. And pictures very often are just so much simpler. And so I want to have an activity where you do that for yourself and just go through the process one time, and then utilize it later and use it, or let it be, but you know how it goes if you haven't known it before. And so then that's that activity. Again, nothing too schmancy fancy, just sort of as you study for this material, just do this one, and and learn how to look for images if you don't know yet, and see if it makes you click. That's another thing, the same as YouTube. You don't have to. I mean, I didn't put it as YouTube, but maybe the YouTube is more in the Padlet. But YouTube is another one that, like, if we don't go and look, and it's like not a thing I just learned to do, and I miss it. I'm missing a very easy, often way to understand things, because a lot of this anatomy physiology stuff in YouTube, they have these great videos that they create with cartoons and things, and I can explain it in a way, then we can talk to each other in a way, and then the YouTube is the next great teacher. And then, of course, now the Khan AI, which the AI tutoring module that Khan Academy is making. I don't know if any of you have been exposed to that yet. I would like to bring it into the classroom as much as I can. I'm just a little overwhelmed yet with doing those things. But if you haven't, I've been talking about it. The Khan Academy has created a tutoring model, and I think it's in Khan Amigo. KAHAN Migo, like an amigo. And you can ask it questions like the questions we have in understanding concepts, for example, because we have a few understanding concepts in chemistry. If you don't understand it, for example, or you want to know more, you can feed it into that tutoring model, and then it starts talking to you, and it starts not explaining to you in a way that just gives you an answer to a question, but in a way that it helps you get to the answer. And so the positive with that is you then know your answer, versus like, oh look, I have an answer, and you don't know the pathway, or you don't know why, or so forth. And it's going to become very important, I think, and I want to make sure we all learn, utilize it, or get the benefits from it, because the importance is the fact that we master a topic, versus we have question marks all over the place, and we have these gaps on a topic. We see it in math a lot when we go from one grade to the other. Some things we just skip over because it's too complicated, we didn't get it or so, and then later on we're like, oh man, I still don't get it, the foundation, and so I don't get the next step. And so it becomes really, really helpful in that arena, for sure, but also all the other topics, that if we have some personalized guidance in some of the blocks that we don't understand, is very, very helpful. So go check it out, the Khan Academy tutoring AI tool that is being created. And yeah, I don't have a link ready yet but I'm working on that. Anyway, so we have understanding concepts. I think you guys did all right with the first week on that. I keep those online. I don't do those in the classroom, because I think I want us to understand a few concepts more in depth, make sure we all kind of get them. And so this is another one where it's a fairly big list. This is the last one. The one next week is just 2 questions. So don't despair. We're coming to a close of this kind of stuff. I know I always feel ambivalent about these kind of activities, but as soon as we're moving into the touchable things and the anatomy terms, we do a lot of labeling and coloring, and that is for many of us much more easy to do than writing sentences and thinking about these small things. Chemistry can be a little abstract. And so just maybe that is also why I put these explain through images in here, because it's very important then to even more important to visualize things and make sure we try to, understand it, because the words can just all of a sudden, it's la 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 words in the head, at least in my head. So if you feel similar to that, don't feel too bad. It's just kind of language. It's not for everybody. It's a very, very great tool, but it's also very difficult for some of us to sit down and read and understand. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. But then the next activity I do here, as we go through these macromolecules like carbohydrates and proteins and fats, we realize we find them on nutrition labels, on packages of our cereals and boxes and things like that. They're not on the broccoli stems, but we might as well imprint them there too at some point. But see the fat here, we have carbohydrates here. These are all chemicals that we're going to learn in the chemistry chapter. They're molecules, they're bigger things, but they're chemicals. They're part of this chemical thing. And so I want us to have an activity where we read these nutrition labels for 5 different things and we analyze it and we get this table filled out. And you can write this by hand, you can screenshot this thing, whatever, however you want to do it. It is. But I wanted to extract these data, these nutrients from the label that you're working with. And the first thing and the most important thing is you're separating serving size from serving per container. So you're understanding that if the container has 2 serving sizes and you're eating the whole container, you got to double all the figures that says amount per serving because you're having 2 serving sizes. The same is true if you do half, but for me, usually it happens that I eat the whole bag and I'm like, oops, that was really good. And then I'm like, God, that was way too much. But it happens less and less the more conscious I get. And then, so this is right here. See, calories per serving, serving per container, calories consumed. That's then when you calculate these 2 things from one another. And then you go down the list and look at from up down here, you go up here. So total fats, you look at total fats, 12. And then see back here, it also says percent daily value. So DV is daily value. That tells you how much of this is the fat that you should consume per day. So if you eat one, whatever this is, 1 serving of this thing, you get 12 grams of total fat. And that's 18% of what you should eat for that whole day of fat, according to whoever put this together. And whoever put this together is hopefully most likely more or less scientific people that, have thought about it, and it's not just some random thing. Well, there is, of course, 2 caveats. Are these numbers really what's in the box is one caveat. And you do sometimes get, some data that's like, it's like 10 to 20% off or 10 to 15% off, up to that or something. And I heard that a couple times. But, it's still, it's still better than nothing. And so then when you go down here in the fat, for example, you see saturated fats and trans fats. It doesn't say unsaturated here. But those are the ones that are the bad ones for us, that ones we will really worry about. So see, they're also listed down in here. And then you put the number in here of how much you consume. So you put both. If you have the daily value on your box, you put the daily value. If it's not there, you don't have to calculate that. Don't worry about that. And then you do sodium, cholesterol, potassium, carbohydrates, fiber. Fiber is a very important one. And then after you do all of that, and here's some more what I just talked about kind of thing, then you also answer all these questions, as you go through. It's like, well, what surprises me, or what do I like or not like? And then, of course, I have a little convo about the fiber, since that is very important. And then that's the end of that assignment. And then next week, we will have a little conversation on it, a little discussion to what we have learned. But with that, I want to have us integrate what we're learning in chemistry and make it useful, and not just be, a theoretical beast that we're all, or many of us, are kind of a little freak. It's a science class. So, I mean, when I first heard about STEM, I'm like, STEM, oh, that sounds scary. And then I started learning about the body and anatomy, and I really liked it. And so I started having less trouble about it. I'm not saying that's your pathway, but I know a lot of times when I hear about science, people kind of have like, oh, shriek away. And it doesn't have to be that way. This is about our body. So as we learn these theoretical things, the more we can bring it into a practical environment, the more it becomes useful. And so we try to also then make it in a fashion that helps us be thinking about our health. And when I say that, the health is two parts to it. One is like how healthy is my body, but also how well do I feel. And so these are all sort of geared towards making us feel more enhanced and better in those ways. All right. Well, no questions at all. You guys can speak into me if something shows up. All right. Because we just finishing out the class. Oh, I almost spoke an hour. I'm so sorry. With the questions and tips. And I know I'm working through the first week's ones. This is the last thoughts at the end of when you finish the class. Look, somebody already did one here for week 2. Somebody's very fast. Very cool. And you finish some thoughts, and then I go through them and communicate with you guys there as well, or at least send you a heart. If you can tag it with a heart, so I'll do that usually for sure, if I don't give you a comment. Okay, any questions with that? Well, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it's not, then we don't have it, but at least we start the week with one of those at 11 o'clock. They hopefully don't always go that long, but it's a good Q&A session, and it's also a good where we go through the week, especially if your lab is in the latter part of the week. If it's Monday, we're going to do some of that again in lab. And then I also record it for later viewing, so if you can't make it, don't feel stressed about it. It's nice for me to have somebody, otherwise I'm not really doing anything. All right, cool. With that, have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Too.
You as well.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.